All right, welcome back to News Hub. Ahead of the 2027 general elections, activists are pushing for things like reserved seats, better grassroots support, and legal reforms to help women compete in the 2027 elections more fairly. However, barriers like cultural expectations, discriminations, weak stereotypes, mentorship, negative stereotypes actually impeding the success of this vision. And the reason for this conversation, the topic we'll be looking at is women's votes and the 2027 general elections. And our guest for today is Madam Arinola Oloko. Good morning. Oloko. I'm so sorry for that. Yeah, good morning.
That's fine. Good morning. Thank you.
All right, so my very first question, what specific legal reforms are needed to ensure that women get fair representation in the elective process come 2027?
Okay, so if you look at countries like, let's start with countries like Rwanda, that they have a high representation of women. They have 60% representation of women. It didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen. It didn't happen because people just decided that they wanted to. It was partly because of the quota system and policies that have been put in place. So when people are asking for affirmative or they are asking for number of seats for women, it is a deliberate act because that is the only way that we can get those numbers. So it's actually putting it in our constitution and even the legal right that we women can are entitled to a certain number of seats. That is what we're clamoring for.
Now, women in Nigeria represent 50% of the population.
That's right.
What strategies would I say politicians ahead for 2027, but just generally put in place to ensure that women have more inclusion when it comes to their parties? Because they always have a quota for a certain number of women every single time they have the election circle. So what strategies can they implement this next circle?
I think we've done those strategies, implementation of those strategies by political parties, and we've seen where it's gotten us. So that's why we're insisting that this time it should come into law. So that they can now have a backing, they can now follow what the law says and then make sure that they really, really put seats for women. You know, look at 2023 election, 1,019 women ran for office on state assembly level. And look at the proportion of people that won. It might be like 38 or something, wasn't it? So that's like 48 women, and so that's like 4.7% of that number, which is really, really low. So I don't think it's enough to leave it for the political parties. You know, political parties, yes, I belong to one. They kind of say yes, that they have numbers, they give you the forms at a reduced rate as a woman, which they try to do. But I don't think it can rely on them alone. I think that there has to be a legal backing that says that women must be allocated a certain number of seats, and that stays there.
Okay, but let me also ask you this question.
Yes,
so do you think, because a lot of young women now are taking their rights, you know, being involved in politics, do you think that you see sort of young women emerge to break this barrier that we're experiencing across board? Yes, the political parties may not be able to get the work done, but you think the new force of women who are very passionate, you know, who are ready to just do all they need to do to be in those places, can do something different to break the barriers?
They have to first join the political party. That'll be the first thing. Because if whatever you do outside of the political party, democracy, in a democracy, you don't have independent candidacy, for instance. Do you understand? So it's only through a political party. So those women, I encourage them to come in so we can make the difference together and put all those things in place so that they can sit on those seats that they want. Yes.
All right, so what strategies have worked in other countries to ensure that to increase women's representation in politics, and which of these strategies can Nigeria adopt?
The quota system, like I said, the quota system and policies around women inclusion. Okay. Deliberate policies and deliberate actions are the things that can work. You know, for instance, the law says if you kill someone, you know what will happen. If you do that, and people follow it to a large extent. I mean, so people, if not, there'll be anarchy, there'll be all kinds of things happening in the country. But because the law is in place, so we believe that that's where we need to have that conversation. That's where that needs to change.
All right.
So for
you go ahead.
Okay, so for instance, like I'm a student. I graduated in the School of Policy and Governance, specifically to go and learn how to govern and how to act and know my data and all that, you know. And I know for a fact that there's a group that is clamoring and advocating for that change to happen with other women societies around, NGOs, all that are clamoring for that. And that's what we need your backing, especially you, we need your backing as a man to back us up and say, yes, we are entitled to those seats. And people say, why should they give you seats? Why can't you just...
Okay, just a moment. Okay. That's exactly where I'm headed. I've heard people make the argument that in recent times, you know, what we hear the most is about equal rights. And then you're now also advocating for reserved seats. Isn't that a contradiction?
So if you look at it wouldn't have gotten here if it wasn't a need. So we've observed that over the years, decades, since 1999, only 150-something women have ever been elected into office. Think about it. That's like, that's not. So we realize that that's not enough. It is not just enough to keep asking for it. We have to have some kind of backing that allows us to have it. And like you said earlier, I remember the word you used, cultural.
Yes.
It is our major problem. It is one of our major problems, that cultural, that mindset that a woman does not belong to politics. Yes. Politics is not an easy play for a woman, yes, but we can make it better. It's because the rules have been set by certain people. But if enough women come in, credible women with character and integrity come in, then we can change those rules and make it better for us.
I know we already have the affirmative action for women, but then let's emphasize also that women have been given opportunities. And times when you have issue of performance and corruption, I mean, those are some of the things that I'm just saying generally, I'm a woman. So as much as we have women who have also been able to shape culture in their own ways, we've also had performance issues. Those are sort of impeded the mindset or the priorities of why a woman should also find her place. So how do you also address some of these issues?
And why is it difficult for women to support men?
So I knew we were going to get to that place. So that's all. You remember the data I said earlier on? I said how many women have been elected into office from that executive role from 1999 to now. How many men have been elected into office?
We have a lot of men.
How many of them have been corrupt? Only a few. The women that have been corrupt and how many percentage? Nothing even compared to it. So of course we're human beings, you understand? People are going to have different roles. And most of those women that are elected into office or those women that are in appointed offices that have done what they've done have been appointed into office.
Yes.
So regardless,
yes. But so you know that, and then.
But we also had like the former speaker, at House of Rep the other time. She was elected.
Yes.
I understand that majority, as you rightly
said. Majority. It's not that same house that we have men throwing chairs and hitting each other. Why don't you bring out that story? I never hear that story and that argument that men they go and fight, they throw chairs at each other. So that's why women should not. We don't hear that story because it's not an issue for them. But for us, it is something that we need to fight for. That's why we're fighting for it. It's not an issue for them. If a man comes up and he wants to run for office now, nobody's going to ask him why. If I come up and say, I remember I've come up to say I want to run for office, they'll ask you why. Does your husband consent? Is your husband part of it? What will you do? So if you're now whatever, what will happen to your husband? Those are issues that men don't have to deal with. But we have to deal with those issues. So that's why it is separate.
All right, so you mentioned two strategies that Nigerians could adopt to actually ensure women's representation. You said something about quota and status
and
quota
policy.
And policy
change.
So I'm like, okay, who would actually drive this policy change? It's not still the women. Because men, I don't know about them, but like if a woman is actually in a high position to fight for women inclusion, I think there's going to be it's going to be a road to good success. Do you understand? Because if it is still the same men that are still occupying this position, I don't think we're going to get anywhere.
So that's why, but we need the backing. Even if a woman goes there, if it's just one, we need legal backing. If it's just one woman that is there, it's like even when you join a political party and you're the one boy shouting, oh, let's do it right, nothing's going to happen. So you need more women to be there and then to get it done.
So it was not just about women supporting women, and because you need a woman to lead. Do we have enough women who kind of lead the way in terms of politics in the Nigerian space? Yes, affirmative action is there, and the number of percentage of women that needs, but actively passing bills, women who are actually shining the light for other women in the political space. Do we have enough of mentors? I know there's a school of
policy and governance
and all those types. Yes, but I'm talking in terms of women empowerment, women supporting each other in this space. Is it real or is it?
So when you say do we have enough, the data says that we don't have enough women elected anyway. So when you say enough, what do you mean? Are you talking about 1, 2, or 3 people speaking about the little that we have? Yes, we do have women speaking up. We have sub-senators that are speaking up and are saying, oh, they need more women participation. But then it is not just enough. So let us balance it here. It's not just enough to say, and then we don't come to the table saying, we want certain numbers and we just want to whether regardless. No, we're saying that we want women that are of character, competent, and have capacity. So we're not just coming to say, oh, just give us this seat for the sake of giving us the seats. So we women supporting women, the women supporting women, it's just a narrative. You know everything. The media sells that narrative, everyone sells that narrative, and it's all culture. And men sell that narrative as well. Women do support women. Look at the banking industry. I don't think the banking industry. Look at
we're talking about politics. I can read our statistics.
Yes.
We've seen women contest for president in this country. They hardly got They hardly got 1,000 votes.
That's the culture. That's what I'm saying to you now. That's the cultural part of it.
So where are all the women? We were supposed to have more women than men.
Yes, because that's what when we talked about how the narrative and the media said the narrative that women do not support women. But it's because some women have been told that lie too as well. Not that they haven't. So we're not going to throw that away. They have, but we have women that are still supporting women. And when you talk about votes and counting of votes and number of votes and all that, really, that's another story for another day. You know what I mean? So we end up maybe, and then, so for instance, they give them is the parties themselves, political parties themselves, they need to be more aware as well and more inclusive.
Yes.
So it's not just enough to give a woman a ticket on half price or whatever, or half the cost, but it's enough to make sure that you're backing that person to success.
Do we have any woman, or is any Nigerian state ready for maybe a woman as a governor right now? I'm just saying generally overview.
So when you join us at the political party level, then we bring out how do candidates emerge.
I know,
and the candidates emerge from there. So you have like a primary, and then we vote for who we want the candidate to be. So think about it. If we had 3,000 women and there were 4,000 men, our voice will be heard, isn't it? So that's the reason we need to be more participatory in the process. We're not participating enough.
Okay, speaking of
sorry. Do you think that Nigeria's problem is about whether men are leading or women are leading, or that the quality of leadership and the kinds of commitment that we get from our leaders? Is this so much about the gender of our leaders?
So the gender is one issue, okay? And then the leader is another issue that we have at present right now. We know that there's a lot of story around competence. We know that, and the capacity to lead. And that servant mentality, they do not understand it. We know that. Because when they're not leading for the good of Nigeria, what we're looking for are leaders that will lead for the good of Nigeria. So the women that we're bringing, we're not saying that the women are complete saints. We're saying that they would come in as well. And then they would deal with issues that men would not pay attention to. Family issues. You cannot have men sitting around issues that concern me, that I've never lived what I've lived. Do you understand? So that's what we're asking for. We're not saying that the men should not come in. Yes, we want men. And even at home, in the family situation, even at home, her husband and wife. Even the wife has intuition, she sees things, but the husband still needs to help her firm it out. So we're not saying men should be alienated at all. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that women just need to have a seat as well, so that their voices are heard, so that things that concern us, families, children, healthcare, welfare, those kind of things, we can bring a better perspective to it.
Okay. So in terms of participation, what is the importance of voters' education, especially amongst grassroots women, in shifting voting patterns towards more women candidates? Okay,
it's very important, very important. Like I said, I went to a school, SPPG, and one of the things that they do is they elected informed electorate. So in that informed electorate, it goes to the grassroots level to get the women to understand. You will get issues where women would say, my husband no go let me vote, or my husband no go let me come out on election day. You will get things like that. Let us take that away. It's our culture. Do you understand? It's breaking those things and then just understand that if you want your children to be represented, if you want to go to school, if you want those kind of things, you need someone to help you with those kind of things and letting them understand it. When you bring it from that perspective, that's why education is very important. Grassroots mobilization, grassroots education in different languages, in different ways that they can understand it. Let them understand the extent of it and understand why it is important. When you tell someone something and they don't really understand why it's important, they're not going to know now what it is. Just say, come out and vote. Come out and why should I come out and vote? What does it matter? Which is another thing that we're going to be dealing with in this 2027. Why does it matter? The last one we did it matter? But we need to still be consistent on it and telling them. And that's what we're going to be doing.
All right, so with the case of the acting INEC chairman, May Agbamuchi, did you perceive any form of inferiority complex? I was actually thinking that she was going to emerge.
You were praying.
You were praying.
That was yes, for lack of better words, I was praying that for a change. Do you understand that kind of thing? So because speculations were that the woman is strict, she's not going to take something like that. She's not going to be dancing to the tunes of people. She's actually going to do what she thinks is right and best. So do you think that speculations, what people perceived, actually made her not move forward? Or do you think there was something like
I don't
power
think so. I just think that she was used as a bait, first of all. She want credibility. We're going to give you credibility. So that credibility is there. But knowing where we're going to, That's what I think.
Anyways, I mean,
But
she's
my
due,
personal
she's due to leave the commission very soon. She's been like one of the longest serving commissioners, and her tenure is due.
But we heard her president. We heard what she did in the other elections, how she stood up and all that. So okay, so we commend her as well.
But generally, just with everything that
sorry, and that's a woman, though. We commend her for standing up.
She did very well.
Thank you.
Okay.
So let us, it's a leadership role as well.
What is the canvassing you are doing and encouraging more women to join politics? 2027 is around the corner. Yes. How do you see things shaping out now? I know there's a lot of talk and need for, that's why you're coming here in media to do a lot of mobilization and canvassing. How do you see the future now with what you've been doing, grassroots work and campaigning here and there, and just generally speaking to women? How do you see things playing out in 2027? Are we seeing more women who are going to be zoned in different parts of the country? Are we going to see more increased affirmative action in the Senate? Because I know we only have 3 women in the Senate as at now. Four. So now, are you going to look back at 2027 and say, yes, we're doing a good job, but we still have more work, which will maybe cut out in the next 10 years or 20 years?
We have a lot of work to do. We still have a lot of work to do. We're at it. That's why we need more people understanding and joining the movement so that we know what we're doing and moving and strategizing differently. Okay. I think what it is that we need to strategize differently. I think we've been working the same way, just doing the narrative the same way, saying come and join, come and be part of it, come and be whatever. I think we need to go back to the drawing board and re-strategize and decide on how we want it and what role we want to play.
Yes.
All right. So how do you address, in the light of this advocacy, the issue of cash for votes? You find, people in rural areas, women, of course, poor people generally. Apologies. You find that all that they care about is just what have you got for me on election day, and they ask you, and you see the queues somewhere behind the polling units. People go vote and then walk there to take their cash. Given this type of culture, how far, would this kind of advocacy make sense? Because it then means that politicians will still continue to pump in more money. And an average woman would rather concern herself.
An average woman or average man?
Average woman.
Average man would equally collect money, so let us be clear on it. So it's just the empowerment thing. We need to get our women and our men to a state where they're empowered. You understand? I don't, even when you go, no country is, election is election wherever country you are in. Wherever country you are in, election is election. And then people go and talk to the electorate and get them to come to them and all that, offer them all kinds of incentives. Yes. I think we need to get to a stage where our people are comfortable. If we don't get to that stage where they are comfortable enough to look away from that 10,000, 1,000 naira, we'll still be the same thing. But what we're going to be saying to them, maybe just because of the situation and the cultural things around where we are right now, is, if you want to collect your money, it's really up to you. We would rather you do not collect that money. But if you want to, you need to look at the people in front of you and decide who you're voting for. And I keep saying this thing. By the time people come out and you're voting for them, your voices haven't been heard. You have not been part of the process of getting those candidates out. So it's really, really joining political parties that is the most important discussion in all of this. So that your voices can be heard and they'll be part of that process of bringing out the candidates.
All right.
Honestly, because by the time they come out, they just say, these are our candidates, bang, bang, bang. So you now have 2 people in front of you. You now say, okay, what did this one do? What did that one do? And then you choose. But if you were in a political party, and the process was, you were part of the process, you will bring out the candidate that you think will be competent enough.
Okay, you seem to have so much confidence in political parties. But we know that one of the issues we've heard over time is, internal democracy. Yes. Party discipline.
Yes.
Most of the time, often than not, you have certain people sit who determine who the candidates who the flag bearers will be, regardless of whether a million of you are interested in contesting as aspirants.
But those people joined the party. They rose. They joined the party. They rose to be leaders where their voices are being heard. That's what we're asking people to do. Congresses happened in the last 2 weeks. If you were part of the Congress, you want to be the state chairman, you want to be of the party, or you want to be the world chairman of the party. Those positions that bring out those candidates. You can have your voice. You can be part of it.
All right. So while all of these we're talking, everything we're talking about is very, very important. Don't you think it's a thing of concern for women in the rural communities? especially women who are not educated, women who, when giving 10,000 naira, 5,000 naira, it looks so attractive to them. Don't you think we need to actually get to work immediately if we want to push for women, increase in women political participation? Because that is actually where like the North, for example, now, it is really, really declining.
All right. Yes, so when I say we have the empowered electorate in one of the SPPGs that goes out, they have the grassroots SPPG too, that goes to those people, that will speak to them, hold town hall meetings with them, educate them on what they need to do. Yes.
All right, thank you. We'll be speaking with a politician and community development expert, Arinola Oloko. We had quite an interesting time talking to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.